Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Today I'm answering your questions. Today's question is, what is it like transitioning from a metal bat to a wood bat? So whether you're a high school or college draft pick and you have to change over to wood bats in professional baseball, what's that like? Got a bunch of different things for you guys today. First, depending on when you played. So nowadays, the metal bats, there's all these restrictions for you guys that are playing right now with metal bats. You know this. There's restrictions on the metal bats to try to take a little bit of the thump out of the bat. Okay, so the ball's not going to come off as hard. And so I'm not saying that a metal bat is exactly like a wood bat, but they're much, much closer than if you go back a ways to back when I played and even before then. Okay, so the transition now is probably, there's still a transition, but it's not anywhere close to what the transition used to be because now wood bats and metal bats are somewhat close. I know a lot of people are going to write in the comment section below that wood bats are better than metal bats right now. I still don't agree with that because I coach high school. We play in a wood bat league, and then when we play non-league games, we play with metal bats, and we crush the ball with metal bats. And with wood bats, there's very little scoring. So I know people are going to say that wood bats are better, but they're not better. Okay, so now transition still yes, but not as difficult. Back when I played, the transition was a little bit tougher. They had just started to kind of implement some changes in the metal bats to try to decrease the scoring. They tried to decrease, not so much decrease the scoring, but decrease the speed at which the ball came off the bat. They made us use heavier bats, okay? Heavier metal bats to try to take some of that away. So there was a transition. It was much tougher than it is today because, like I said, metal bats and wood bats were much different back in the day. Today, not so much back then. You know, I played in college 2004, 5, and 6. Okay, so definitely a transition there. And then if you go even further back, you look back, I don't know how many years before that, when metal bats used to be like super light and guys were hitting like 40 home runs in college, like that was probably the biggest transition, okay? So let's talk about some of the transition stuff. First of all, I think the biggest thing is when you can be a not so great hitter with a metal bat and look okay. You put a wood bat in the hands of that hitter and they're going to stand out. Like bad hitters to me stand out with wood bats, okay? Because you have to be so much more precise. With a metal bat, you can get jammed. I'm not saying you're going to hit a homer. Sometimes you can. But you can get consistently jammed or consistently off more towards the end of the bat, and you can still get some hits. The bat's not going to explode in your hand. With a wood bat, if you're consistently getting the bat down on the label, the bat's going to explode. The ball's going to go about right there. Okay? So you have to get the ball on the sweet spot much more frequently on a wood bat. And if you can't do that, then it's going to be tough for you. Okay? So although the weights and everything are the same, you could probably swing the bat the same speed. It's about how, baseball's pretty much, hitting is pretty much, can I get this sweet spot of the bat to that ball on time? And with a wood bat, it's much more difficult to do that because the sweet spot is, you're not going to get rewarded for hitting the ball down the bat a little bit on a wood bat, whereas a metal bat, it might not fly as far, but you can still get hits. You're not going to lose your knuckles when you blow the bat up, okay? So that's the biggest thing for me is bad hitters really stand out when you put a wood bat in their hands. And that's one of the reasons why I always think it's crazy, if you think about trying to draft guys, most colleges are still metal bat. Now you'll get a look at a guy in a summer league, in the Cape Cod League or whatever, but the majority of the scouting that they're seeing players, the majority of their at-bats are coming with a bat that's not even as close to the same bat that they're going to use in the major leagues, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? So you're drafting hitters based on something that they're never ever going to use again. So since we're talking about the Cape Cod League where guys start to use wood bats, let's talk about my transition, okay? I had a little bit of an advantage on some guys when it was transitioning from wood to metal, or from metal to wood, sorry. My high school, my senior year in Massachusetts went to wood bats for high school. my senior year. So I had to use a wood bat at 17 years old, which is really difficult. And today, our high school league is still wood. So I now coach at the high school that I played at. I think every other high school league in Massachusetts went back to metal, and we're the only one that stayed wood. So it's crazy. And we've got it all levels, varsity, JV, freshmen. So you got these little tiny 14-year-olds that weigh like 72 pounds soaking wet, and they're swinging these wood bats, and the ball can't go out of the infield, which is crazy. And even we have middle school teams, and I heard that middle school is going to wood bats next year. So anyways, I had an advantage because I got to use wood bats in high school, okay? And so I had to get used to it at a really, really young age. And so when I had a transition in the Cape Cod League, right, my freshman year in college. So freshman year in college, you go to college, you swing with a metal bat, and then you got to play in the Cape Cod League, which is pretty much the best college summer league in the country, and you have to go back to wood bats. A lot of guys at that time, it was their first time swinging wood bats. And so they were, it's an adjustment for a lot of guys. I had already used it all through high school, so I felt like I had a pretty good feel for it. So when I went to the Cape, I feel like it wasn't a super hard adjustment for me at that point. And I think that probably helped me transition, as I got in the pro ball, that I had already been used to it. And obviously high school competition, facing that type of competition with wood bats, not the hardest thing in the world. We weren't facing guys throwing 90 on a consistent basis, not even 85. Sometimes some guys not even 80. But I think that definitely does help you. If you have some familiarity with the wood bat, I think it will help you transition. Okay, so that helped me. For guys that never used it before, guys that have just swung wood, then yeah, it's going to take a little while. I think the biggest thing is, again, if you're a good hitter, you'll transition. If you're a shitty hitter, it's going to be hard to transition. Okay, so that's my honest opinion. Guys that are really good can swing with anything. So it's really just a separator, and really just shows, for me, it doesn't let the guys that can't hit hide anymore. Okay. One thing about nowadays, not only are metal and wood bats really close as far as being the same, a lot of guys now are swinging wood bats way more frequently. So like summer balls now, summer ball, travel ball, most of the tournaments, wood bat. When I was growing up, that wasn't really the case. There were some, but not as many. Now, tons of wood bat tournaments. All of our summer ball teams from 15 years and older use wood bats. Guys are using wood bats in winter workouts. We have 10-year-olds that want to use wood bats in winter workouts. So everyone's starting to swing wood bats. And so I think the transition should be easier for most guys because they've swung wood bats their whole lives. They may still swing metal in their high schools or whatever, in college, but they all have some familiarity with it from a really, really young age. And when you use a wood bat, it should make you a little bit better of a hitter because you have to concentrate a little bit more. You have to be more precise. You can't just swing and just hope you hit the ball anywhere on the bat and get rewarded for a ball that's, you really jam right off the knuckles or off the end of the bat. So I think that also helps train some hitters at a younger age. And listen, when you're really young and you got to use a wood bat that's a drop 3 bat and you're only 13 years old, first I think that's kind of crazy and ridiculous. But it is going to probably give you a little bit more strength as far as learning to swing the heavy bat. You're not going to be able to get away with as much. Your swing is going to have to be, it's going to have to be a better swing. Instead of using a drop 10 where you can just basically just use your arms and just throw the bat at the ball, with a drop 3 bat, you really can't do that. So you're going to have to use your body better, learn how to use your body for a more efficient swing. So that should help you progress and switch over to the wood when you eventually get there. So hopefully that makes sense. I know I bounced around a little bit there, but just want to give you all the background info as far as my experience and then kind of what's going on today with the game and how it's changing. Let me know if you guys have any more questions in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. Share the video with all your friends. Check out the description box below. We've got a bunch of stuff down there for you guys to check out. And that's all I got, guys. Thanks again for your questions. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.